Gathered today, grant every member wisdom, clarity, and unity. Guide the discussions and decisions and actions so they reflect integrity and serve the common good. We especially ask you to look over all of our staff, including public safety, first responders, and all who protect and serve our community. Please keep them strong, safe, and supported. May this meeting bring peace, progress, and blessings to our county. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Attention to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to public input. Do we have anybody signed up? Moving on to the review and approval of the agenda contents. Motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to the approval of the minutes from the March 24th, 2026 meeting. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to new business, Conway TIF update. Adam.
I'm going to defer to Gary Pope, who is the city's
Okay.
attorney, and let him do the presentation so I don't screw anything up.
Come on up, Mr. Pope. Thank you very much. Come on up. Welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Sort of prefatory remark. I think y'all are all maybe somewhat familiar with what the city is trying to do, but there's an amazing opportunity to repurpose the Santee Cooper site, which helpfully is just right next door, and it's going to require a whole lot of public infrastructure, and we're here to ask for your help and participation, and this presentation will sort of take you through how that might work. So what we're proposing is a tax increment financing district. The city has established the district, but there is no, until we find an agreement with the county and the school district, then none of your property taxes or revenues would be contributed to that district. It will be wholly a voluntary and consensual agreement to come at a later date. But for those that have not interfaced with this mechanism before, essentially what it does is it allows for us to set a baseline of property value, and then any incremental value that happens over time can be captured and used to repay bonds that are issued to pay for publicly owned infrastructure. So it has to be for publicly owned infrastructure, and only the amount of money that is attributable to growth, either new development or incremental growth in the existing infrastructure, or in the existing privately owned property, would be used to pay back those bonds. And so what we are trying to do, generally speaking, is ensure there is a development that increases in value such that it is worth the public investment over time, meaning that what we are going to do, or what we're proposing, is going to cause it to increase in value at a rate that is in excess of what would happen naturally. This is a nice graphic that sort of describes what happens. So TIF enacted, that was done on December 1st, 2025 by a City of Conway ordinance. Obviously, you don't have any incremental values until there's some investment there, and so you wait a little bit of time to issue bonds. But that is the idea. At the end of the day, what you see in red is the incremental revenues. Those would be what would be available to pay back the bonds. This is a map of the area. Again, it is, I don't know that I've worked on a TIF where one of the participating bodies is quite so closely situated to the area of the proposed TIF. It is literally all around you, so y'all are very, very familiar with it. But the idea, again, is to redevelop the former Granger Generating Station. We have locked in the assessed value as of December 1, 2025 for the baseline. We expect that if the investment comes online as anticipated, and certainly it will be more or less than we anticipate, but this is currently what we're thinking, that the assessed value goes from $2.7 million to $12.9 million over the term. These would be a preliminary budget of what we think certain things might cost. There are some of these things that are going to probably cost a good bit more than what we thought when we initially set out. Dredging has gotten dramatically more expensive. It's been noted to me, and certain of these items, may be more or less, but this is generally what we're thinking it's going to take for the public infrastructure. What we're asking for is a borrowing limit of $80 million. With the city TIF funds plus other projects the city is going to do in the area, by our high-level math, we think $1.72 of city funds will be matching $1 of each county and school district dollar. So the city is not just looking to siphon off these revenues from the county and the school district to do a project it wants to do. It is going to invest significant resources of its own to make sure it has lots of skin in the game. I think it's, I think Adam will be available for questions, may have something to say at the end. This is an extremely high priority project for the city and, is really critical for the region and the future of this area. This is our math. I know, everybody says that's great. Y'all have a proposal, y'all have ideas. This is our math about how we think it will work right now. And a lot of this is pretty straight. At least the first two columns, we know what those are because that's just the existing tax rate times the $2.7 million assessed value that's been locked in. Out on the far right, that's our projection if the private investment comes in the way we expect. And so what we are asking for, if you were so inclined to participate, is to authorize by ordinance, I believe your county administrator to negotiate with us on an intergovernmental agreement by which the county would participate for a 30-year term and the full amount of the taxes that are above what are currently collected. So you would still continue to collect exactly what you're collecting now. All of this is subject to agreement. In 2010 timeframe, the legislature clearly allowed for a flexible agreement to take place. If there's certain parts of this that you say, hey, we're interested in participating in this, but we really don't want to participate in this little piece of it, or it needs to be on a slightly different percentage of participation or term, we certainly want to have constructive, negotiations about how that might look. Certainly don't want, one little thing to, if that's a concern, to cause us not to be able to move forward in a constructive and collaborative manner. So I've provided a form of intergovernmental agreement to county attorney and county administrator, and certainly look forward to working through those various items with them. But I just want to emphasize that is a very flexible document that can be drafted to address, I would say, almost any concern you may have. We did go and get one of the reasons this took a little bit longer than we were hoping is because I know we mentioned this about 2 years ago. The school district asked us to go get a third-party economic development analysis. We went and got that with a professor from CCU, and that study concluded that it was certainly worthwhile to undertake the TIF and would have significant long-term economic benefits. And just to reiterate, no existing revenues would be impacted, and only increases in the tax base within the district would be captured. So I think that's how it works. The next step would be, if you're inclined, to authorize an ordinance with an intergovernmental agreement. Certainly glad to defer to Adam for any additional color. But I would also note that y'all would break even on this 5 years after the TIF expires. Because again, you're increasing the trajectory at such a rate due to the public investment that you're able to recoup the foregone revenues pretty quickly. And then, after 50 years, you're really ahead of the game. So that's where I'd leave you with that, and I'll turn it over to Adam.
First of all, I want to invite any of you who would be interested in going out and seeing the site. It's amazing. Since Santee Cooper did the restoration of the ash ponds, it is rebounded very well. It is really a remarkable site. Lots of alligators, lots of eagles, egrets. It's beautiful. And it is the size of, it's actually bigger than 2 existing state parks. So to be able to redo the ash ponds, take what was formerly always a private site that had a public benefit, to be able to make it a public site with a public benefit is really our goal. To be able to open it up to the public, it is again, it's a remarkable site. So I invite you all, Anybody who'd like to have a tour, we have a nice golf cart to be able to take you out there and get you around it, and it's something. From our standpoint, the way we looked at that map and drew that map, we looked at sites that are in the downtown area of Conway that have never had investment in them. If we had a time machine and we were able to look back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago at the assessed value in those neighborhoods, you'd find it very much similar to the way it is today. We just cannot get these neighborhoods and these disinvested areas to be able to get jump-started, and that is what we're hoping that TIF will do. We're taking properties that are tax revenue depressed and trying to put them back into something that is positive for everyone, the county, the school district, and us. And that, I think, is the overwhelming thing. This is not just an investment in public infrastructure, it's an investment in future tax revenues for all of us. When you take something that's worth zero and you put it on the tax rolls, all of a sudden it has a value that can help us all. So that's what we're hoping to be able to do with a lot of this. The other thing is the steam plant used to be known as the gateway to the Grand Strand. Tourists who were coming to Myrtle Beach when they drove by the steam plant knew that they were almost at the destination, and it literally was marketed as the gateway to the Grand Strand. Now, from the Conway standpoint, we don't want to be the pass-through to anybody. We want to be the destination, and that's what we hope to be able to restore that site to. We invest in the public amenities on the site, the public amenities that surround it, and then we ask the private developers to come in and do some high-quality, positive growth that's on the 501 corridor with its own interchange. It's part of the Ride 4 project. All this stuff is really thought forward, planned out years in advance, and we really hope to be able to make this work. To be able to do that, though, we need your help. We need the county council to be able to jump on board with us. We're going to need the school district to jump on board with us, and it will allow us to do all of the things that need to be done on the site and make it top-notch and not something that we can afford to do a little bit here and there. We need to do it. We need to be able to do it in the next 10 to 20 years.
Just one question that I have. Under the current proposal, is the city going to be requesting these bonds as it relates to y'all's debt service?
So the city would issue the bonds.
Okay.
So the city would issue the bonds, would be payable solely from the revenues that would be under a contract with the county if y'all are so inclined, the city's TIF revenues, the school district if it's so inclined, and then the city may be able to add additional revenues to backstop it, but the idea is just to have bonds that are issued by the city, or you could do an installment purchase revenue bond where the city creates a nonprofit corporation.
But the county would not.
The county would not be,
yeah,
not asking the county to do anything with its debt limit or anything with its bonding. That's it. And one other thing I would note, this has been moving on for a little while, but the city council is going to take up an MOU with a developer next Monday. And so this is all timely now. So we've been talking abstractions for a while, but we are in active negotiations with a developer to look at the site and to provide the necessary private investment. And so I'll just say this is now a very timely request.
Can y'all put a timeline together as relates to the infrastructure projects that are needed before the private investment comes online? And then are y'all putting seed money in to fund the TIF to do the projects to begin with?
Well, we would issue the bond at the front end, which would allow us to do a lot of the projects that are needed. And like Gary mentioned, we would backstop that with existing city revenues. We have basically no debt in the city of Conway, and that is very intentional, so that we have the ability to be able to do some things where we need to, but we also don't have the bonding capacity to be able to do all the projects that are on this list without that. And it certainly would handcuff us if we did. So what we would like to do is, the first thing that needs to be done is the public amenities at the ash pond to facilitate the private investment. There are some utilities things that need to be done there as well that will need to do that. And it is likely to be a brownfield site that's going to require some environmental remediation as well. So that's going to be something that we're going to need to work with the developer on. In addition to that, the highest priority after the public amenities is a parking deck somewhere downtown. I know we've talked briefly about having it maybe on a county site. We're actually looking now at a private site that we can put a parking deck on as well to be able to facilitate some additional parking downtown.
Okay.
Those would be the two highest priorities.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Mr. Anderson?
Maybe just a comment. I'm not on the committee, but I would ask for the support of my committee members so we can move this forward to the council. When I was on city council, we did, I think it was 2 different TIFs, and it was an investment in the future, and it was a little bit scary, but look what we've got. In the last 3 years, I've tried to build a relationship with y'all, build a relationship with the city of Conway. Very proud of Conway. It's somewhere people want to go, and this, if you think we're somewhere you want to go now, you ain't seen nothing yet. and this man is a big part of it. I wholeheartedly support this and ask for your help.
Any other comment from the committee?
Yeah, Beside the parking deck, which I agree with you, that's needed, anything else in particular?
Well, some of these are more long-term. The neighborhood that is adjacent to the county parking lot now has really had no investment in it at all. There's been a few attorney's office came through since the courthouse was built. I think that was the hope, is that neighborhood would become sort of a destination for attorneys' offices and things like that. That has not been the case. So we're hoping that that neighborhood will be the biggest ancillary beneficiary of this project. As the public amenities come on, you could not live closer to something this grand anywhere else in the city. So that would be the big thing. There's not a lot of investment required from the TIP in that neighborhood, just a focus. From long-range things, one of the things that comes up in every plan that we've ever done is trying to bring coastal downtown. We've had the conversation with them for a long time. What element of them coming downtown would come is really still up in the air a little bit, but included in the TIF is funding to build a building that we could work with Coastal on and Horry Georgetown Tech to be able to have a presence downtown. So I think that in a long-range plan would be something exciting to be able to offer. As you know, Coastal's sort of capped out on their space on their campus, so being able to bring an element of them downtown would be really important.
Thank you so much, Adam.
There's no action items for the committee, but I assume staff will be getting with
I think what we should
Adam
do,
and proceed. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chairman.
I just think what we should do is just ask them to, direct them to go ahead and enter into negotiations and move forward with it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Absolutely.
And
Thank
again,
you.
anybody who wants to see the site, I'd love to give it a tour, so let me know.
Wonderful.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to the financial update for March 2026, Ms. Norman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we've completed the third quarter of the fiscal year, and today we're reviewing financials for month ending March 31st, 2026. Looking at revenues across all funds, we have received $379 million. 68% of those funds are in the general fund. We have $265.5 million in expenditures across all funds. 73% of those expenditures are in the general fund. Looking at the general fund, we have revenue collections of $258.3 million, which is 89% of the annual budget. This is well over the 75% mark that we would expect to be at in 9 months into the fiscal year. Expenditures are at 66% of the annual budget at $194 million. General fund total actual revenues are 5.5% higher than prior year, and general fund total actual expenditures are 11.7% higher than prior year. Looking more closely at the general fund revenues, at the end of the third quarter, we have collected 99% of the budgeted property taxes. Vehicle taxes, ROD fees, and interest are also performing better than expected for this point in the fiscal year. Looking at expenditures within the general fund, at the end of the third quarter, personnel costs are at 70% of budget, contractual services are at 60%, and supplies and materials are at 58%. Overall, spending trends remain in line with expectations at this point in the fiscal year. Looking at special revenue funds, fire fund, revenues are at 99.7%, expenditures are at 71%, and there's a net change in fund balance of $11.3 million. Road maintenance fund, revenues are at 80.6%, expenditures are at 28.4%, with a net change in fund balance of $7 million. Beach renourishment fund, revenues are at 107.7%, and there's a net change in fund balance of $6.1 million, with very few expenditures thus far in the fiscal year. Continuing with special revenue funds, stormwater fund has a net change in fund balance of $9.1 million. Recreation fund has a net change in fund balance of $2.6 million. Waste management recycling has a net change in fund balance of $9.1 million. Overall, these funds are performing above expectations, with both stormwater and waste management recycling funds having received 100% of their budget revenues for the fiscal year. That is my update.
Any questions from the committee?
Seeing none, thank you so much. Moving on to administrator's contingency. I assume there's zeros.
Remains
Dollar spent.
unchanged.
Thank you. Moving on to local vendor outreach update. Ms. Stevens.
Welcome, good morning.
Good morning. I guess it's been a while, but as of, this is back October 15th of 2013 is when it was first, the resolution R116-13 was passed for local vendor preference. And within that resolution, I guess the thresholds through an IFB process was $25,000 to $100,000 if the local bid was within 5% of the lowest bid, and they would have to match that lowest bid, and they could be awarded. The next threshold was $100,000 to $10 million, which is within 2% of the local. Same thing, they would have to match that 2%, which means you're looking at amount, for the 5%, it would be between $1,250 to $5,000 that the local vendor would have to match if they wanted to be awarded that solicitation. For the 2%, you're looking at $2,000 to $200,000 that the local vendor would have to match if they wanted to be awarded that local. Part of the requirements on that local vendor was they had to have a current address in Horry County for the past 3 years and maintain it throughout the contract if they're awarded. Their employees had to be legal and permanent residents of Horry County. They had to be in good standing as far as with their license, taxes, and other required documents as part of the solicitation. Also, they could not have defaulted or terminated any contract within the past 5 years with the county. Since we started this initiative back in 2013, just after it started in May of 2014, we awarded the first one, and that was to Carolina Pavement Markings. I'd like to announce this past Friday, we actually issued the notice of intent to award for our second local vendor. That was solicitation 2526-060. It was an IFB for Bonnie Bay Road and Booth Road improvement projects. This project was over $3 million. The match that ended up having to be a bid reduction for them of $48,294.13. And of course, they have to accept that once I issue, they have the opportunity, they have 24 hours to accept that. And it was within just a few minutes, like 3 minutes, they emailed me back accepting the offer. So now we're in contract negotiations with this week with D&L Site Work on that project. So that was a big win for us for that project this past Friday. At the end of 24, we started what we call a quote request opportunity in BidNet. A lot of our departments were having issues getting 3 quotes for a lot of their smaller projects that would fall under what used to be the $25,000 are now under the $50,000. They were struggling. Not sure if was the economy or the fact we're so busy. But they were small things. Bidders just weren't interested. So once we started that, it would fall for any quotes between $10,000 and $50,000 because those were the ones that required the 3 quotes. We trained all of the departments that typically would buy goods and services for the county, and once we got them all trained, we had like one the end of '24. And out of that one, we got 6 bids, which was good. And since then, in '25, we had 53 of those quote requests put in, and out of those 53, we had 124 bids last year. And then this year, so far this year, we've had 58, and we still have 2 months to go. And that it's increased up to 160 quotes, which is pretty good. The departments are really enjoying this option. It makes things a lot smoother for them for the procurement side of it, because they're actually putting it out there in BidNet. So all of the vendors that's registered through BidNet will see it, get notification on it if it's within their area or service that they offer. So we've had a really, really good turnout with that. And the majority of them, because of the size of these projects, they're local vendors. So for the outreach, we want to continue through advertising. We want to work with the local businesses to get more of them registered on the county's bidding platform, which is BidNet currently. We hope that increases the competitiveness. We want to continue to work with small businesses to help get them registered as DBEs also throughout the state. And this was pretty interesting. Since last year, July, last year we had 1,054 registered DBEs. This year we've got 1,095. That's a pretty good increase for the DBEs, and around 30 of those are in Horry County. The local vendors, we had over 250 registered last year. We're currently at 317. So we have had a significant increase of 67 this past year. So it is getting better. We're going to continue to be fair and transparent throughout spending the county's funds, maximize our purchasing value. Let's see, another interesting fact. In BidNet, since July 1st, 2025, new registrations serving our area has increased by 13,729 vendors. That is huge. And it's, I guess, the projects coming in, the anticipation of projects coming in, but when those vendors go in there and register, they actually select the services they offer and the areas they want to serve. And those are just for our area. And that's all I've got.
Well, thank you so much for the update, and
Yes, sir.
thank you for all your team's hard work on this. I know getting local vendors is a priority for Councilman Allen, and it's
Yes,
a priority
sir.
for County Council, and so
It
thank you
is.
for your hard work, and thank you for the update. Is there any questions from the committee or comments? Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Moving on to Local Government 250 and National Academy of Public Administration. Mr. Spivey.
Yes, good morning to everyone. In association with the America 250 celebration, which we're in 2026, the National Academy of Public Administration and formed a program to actually nominate or have nominations for various public officials that would be recognized for their great achievement. And it's my honor to share with you today that South Carolina was able to garner 3 of those 250. What's even more impressive is that 2 of those individuals are members of Horry County team. So we would like to recognize today and share the recognition for 2 of our officials who have been nominated and selected. And the first is Mr. David Gilreath. Come forward, sir. Congratulations. you, sir. Next special recognition. Thank you. And the second is Ms. Shannon Todd. Thank you for the great work that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Spivey. Moving on to action items, we're going to take the first three as a group. A resolution to adopt and submit the Horry County Home Consortium Housing and Community Development Annual Action 2026 and 2027 Annual Action Plan, and a resolution to approve Horry County's application to the South Carolina Opioid Recovery Fund Board's Guaranteed Political Subdivision Subfund, and a resolution authorizing the Department of Behavioral Services to submit and accept, if awarded, FY25 U.S. Department of Justice Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Grant in the amount of $750,000. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. The ayes have it. Moving on to a resolution to designate projects under Horry County American Rescue Plan Framework. Entertain a motion?
Motion to table it.
Motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to a resolution proclaiming the May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. A resolution to designate May 17th through May 23rd, 2026, a National Public Works Week. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to a resolution authorizing and approving tax funding for this current year. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
There's an amendment that's been handed out. Wasn't a few in the packet.
There's an amendment in the packet attached with the administration committee and staff's recommendations. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Discussion. What's the details of the amendment?
So it's not really an amendment. It's an amendment to ATAX recommendations. The main portion of the amendment is to adjust funding levels specifically for Horry County beach cleanup and making sure some other items are fully funded. There's some historical events that have always taken place, and staff wants to make sure those are funded at levels from last year. Any other discussion? All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving on to action item H, a resolution approving the carry forward state accommodation tax revenues to control and repair waterfront erosion, including beach nourishment. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to action I, a resolution authorizing the transfer of one-time funds from the general fund to the CIP fund for projects in support of the fiscal year 2026 budget. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. A resolution approving the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2028 budget calendar. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And then moving on to item K, a resolution recognizing Our Lady Star of the Sea Ladies Guild celebrating its 50th year anniversary of faith, volunteer service, and sisterhood to God, the parish, and the community on June 3rd, 2026, and their generous and continuous good works in Horry County. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to action L, an ordinance to dissolve the Eagle Trace Special Purpose Task District, which was enacted by ordinance on January 21st, 2025. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mascarelli, you want to move forward with this?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Action item N, a resolution approving and authorizing the entering into a mutual aid agreement with Atlantic Beach for the provision of law enforcement services during times of extraordinary need. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, before you go on, Mr. Jordan,
Yes, sir.
this is helping Atlantic Beach, correct?
Correct. So this is a generic mutual aid agreement. We have these with, I think, 14 other entities. We never got one with Atlantic Beach. this does not directly deal with Bike Fest. This is just for emergency.
It Bike Fest will be involved somehow, though.
If we get called to go in there, this is the legal mechanism to
Okay.
go.
Which we're gonna get anyway, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is all about neighbors helping neighbors. That's all
If
it
we
is.
don't, it's just gonna spill out.
So,
We'll pay
All
the
right,
price.
thank you, sir.
Any
And
further,
we
dis-
have-
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to a resolution approving and authorizing and entering into a mutual aid agreement with the Horry County Sheriff's Office. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to action item O, an ordinance to levy and oppose a 1% local option sales tax and use tax within Horry County, South Carolina. Entertain a motion.
Motion to table it, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That motion is to table ordinance to 0. Moving on to action item P, a resolution recognizing May 2026 as ALS Awareness Month in Horry County. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on to the Community Benefit Fund requests.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got 4 here today. The first one is for the Aner Area Chamber of Commerce. Funds will be used to help their 4th of July activities, $5,000 from District 11. The second one is for Kind Keeper. Funds will be used to help with daily operation costs such as vaccines, diagnostic care, and general veterinary care, $3,000 from District 8. The third one is for the Socastee Heritage Foundation. Funds will be used to pay for police and fire support for the festival and also help with event rentals like tents and children inflatables. They'll be getting $8,500 from Districts 3, 4, 6, 8, and the chairman. And the final one is for the City of Loris Fire Department. Funds will be used to purchase surplus radios from the Loris County government to be used by the Loris Fire Department. It's going to be $7,500, and it'll be in combinations from Districts 9 and 10.
Is there any additions from the committee? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve. Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. There is some attachments in the packet for informational purposes only. Is there any old business from the committee? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a quick recess before going into executive session for about 20 minutes. Entertain a motion to go into recess.
So moved.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We are in recess.
You can have this back.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. David Jordan.
While in executive session, council engaged in the discussion of the receipt of legal advice relating to pending and threatened litigation. While in executive session, council received legal advice and no votes were taken.
Announcements, our next meeting will be on July 21st. As always, meetings are subject to change, so pay attention to news outlets and the Facebook page. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, aye. We are adjourned.
All right.